Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are making another teacher appreciation back to school kind of gift. This one is much simpler than the previous one, so this might be more budget friendly or at the bare minimum more time friendly, especially if you're like me and you've got like 14 teachers that you gift to. This is probably a little more budget friendly. So we're just going to make a little pencil box today, and I wanted to kill off some of my more brightly colored cardstocks. So I have a piece of cardstock here. This is for the actual box base. This measures 4 by 8.5, so you can get 2 of these from an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. And we're going to do some scoring. So on the short side, well, on all 4 sides of this 4 by 8.5 piece of cardstock, we're going to do 2 score marks. We're going to do one at 1/2 inch and one at 1 1/4. So this is going to give us a folded over edge to our box that's going to make it look a little bit nicer, but it's also going to give us about a 3/4 inch depth to our box. So again, on all 4 sides, you're scoring it 1/2 and 1 1/4, 1/2 and 1 1/4. So this is what you are going to be left with. So I'm going to scoop this off to the side for now. I made this to where it would hold 3 pens or 3 pencils, depending on how you wanted to do it. And I made it to where it would hold, I had some pens in my stash that were like the actual like pin loops on them were a little bit bigger. And I wanted to make sure that no matter what I was placing in there, it was going to fit. So all I'm doing is folding over my cardstock. If you wanted to use pattern paper for this and kind of work through a stash of that, you could obviously do that. The pens and pencils are not very heavy, so it's not like it has to be super heavyweight, although a lot of the cardstock I'm going to be using for these projects is of a heavier weight. So all I did was fold things over and burnish them down with a bone folder just so I could get a little bit better of a crease there. Some like to fold and burnish before they make their cuts. Some like to do it after. I have a tendency to do it before. So this is what we're going to do. With the short end facing you, we're going to make some cuts. So I am going to go to the left of this score mark here, and I'm going to go past the first score line up to the second one and stop. I'm going to cut again to the left of this score line over here, going past the first score mark up to the second and stopping. We're going to do that on this side, although on this side we're going to go to the right of the score mark past the first horizontal to the stopping at the second, and again to the right, stop, going past the first horizontal score line, stopping at the second. So you've got this going on. Okay, these outer ones, you're going to remove these 2 little sections entirely, and you're going to wedge into this. This is actually going to fold into the box. Anytime you're making something that's 3D, if something is folding into that particular project, you want to miter. So that just means you're giving it just a little bit of a corner edge there. That just helps it fold into your box a little bit nicer and give you a more professional and clean finish. So we're going to repeat that on this other side. I like to turn the paper just because it's easier for me to, maneuver. And you're just going to, again, miter into this. So cut at an angle, remove those outer 2 sections. Now we're going to reduce these. So all we're going to do is go up to our score mark here and remove that. Okay, we're going to repeat that on the other side. Just remove that little rectangle there. Now you're left with this. Now we're just going to do mitering. So those are those little teeny triangles, because these are all going to fold into our box. So I'm just going to do a little triangle over here and a little triangle over here and essentially remove our score mark here. So that's all we're doing there. I'm also going to do a little triangle here and here. Again, these are all folding into our box. I'm going to do a triangle here to essentially remove our score mark, and a triangle here. And this is what you're left with. Okay, so let me scoot that out of the way. This is what you should have so far. We've angled, cut these 3 outer sections away, cut the 3 outer sections away, angled for our glue tabs, and angled here also. So if you wanted to pause the screen here, take a screenshot, you absolutely could. What you do on this side, you're going to repeat on the other side. So one more time, maybe a little quicker this time, because I don't need to insult your intelligence. To the left of this score mark, stopping at the second horizontal. To the left of this score mark, stopping at the second horizontal. To the right, stopping at the second horizontal. To the right, stopping at the second horizontal. We're going to remove these 2 outer sections and this one here, just to reduce some bulk into our box, help it all fold together a little bit neater. Again, remember we are going to angle into this long skinny rectangle here and remove a section here. Now what we're going to do is do our mitering, because we've freed up all of our tabs. You're essentially removing your score marks on this side and on this side, and giving it a little wedge on the other side. You're also going to, or I'm also going to wedge into here. Okay, so again, what you did on one side, you repeat on the other, and you're essentially going to get that. Okay, let me get some trash out of my way. So this is what you're going to be left with. Okay, very simple cutting. All right, now we're going to do some gluing, and believe it or not, this box is almost over. So let's, let me here, hold on. Let's see here. Hold on. Sorry, I had to unstop my glue. So I'm going to flip this over. So if you see, it already wants to kind of curl up. So you're going to flip it to the side to where it looks like a mountain. And I'm going to apply glue to these little tabs first. So just a little bit of glue to these first. We're going to fold these into the box first. Okay. Now I'm going to bring this this score mark to this loose edge, okay? And you're just going to form a little square there. Got a little bit of glue oozing out, and this is all I'm doing. I'm trying to make sure that this score mark and this score mark are kind of at the same level. I don't have one higher than the other. I'm trying to bring, my box in to where I don't have any tabs kind of hanging over. We're going to repeat that. So we're going to bring this loose edge to this score mark. Just kind of fold that in. Okay. And again, just trying to make sure that I don't have glue oozing out and I don't have any hangover here, and that these score marks are essentially at the same level. We're going to repeat that over on this side also. Trying to line up my score marks. Give that glue just a second to adhere. If you wanted to, if you had a very strong like double-sided tape or tape runner that you trusted, you could absolutely use that here. I like the liquid glue for 2 reasons. One, if you're making a lot of these, liquid glue is a lot more economical. And 2, whenever I make a 3D project, whether it's holding something heavy or not, I find that liquid glue gives me the best long-term adhesion as opposed to like a tape runner. So this is what you're left with so far. And this is going to show you the reason why we had to kind of reduce those outer tabs in size, because these almost touch and almost overlap in here, and that would just give you extra bulk and not make the inside of the box look quite as nice. So that's why we reduced some of the size and cut off those 3 sections. Okay, so now we're going to apply glue to these ones here. And this is what's going to give us our neat kind of folded over professional looking edge here. So again, I'm using my liquid glue here. Just going to apply this to the outer edges. I'm trying to get that as close to the edge as possible. Okay. Once you've got that, I'm going to fold in my longer sides first. And I'm just going to fold them over and then put some leverage on my desk to let that adhere really well. And then once I've got it sort of kind of tacked down, I'm going to take my bone folder and really push in there. That's going to sharpen up that score mark a little bit for you, and also make sure that your glue is sticking down really well. So I'm going to repeat that on this side, just kind of give it a nudge in the right direction, apply some leverage with my desk. Once I feel like I've got a decent adhesion, I'm going to come in with my bone folder and really get that stuck down. Okay. So now for our short ends, same thing. I'm gonna push those down with my fingers just for a second, just to get that started to adhere. Okay, and then I'll come in with my bone folder and really press that down. Okay. Just kind of going through, I have this project already kind of started, excuse me, and a lot of paper already cut for it. So I'm going to use this piece of paper here. This is going to be essentially our belly band. We are making essentially like a Matchbox style box here to hold our little pins. So this piece of paper here measures a little over 6 inches by 5, okay? A little over 6 inches by 5. So I'm gonna bring back my scoreboard and I'm gonna show you that there are really like 2 ways that you can do this. I'm gonna show you one of them here. So I'm gonna show you 2. So you can take this and on your 6-inch side, you can just dry fit it. So what you're gonna do is essentially take your fingers and make crease marks all around and glue it and sharpen those crease marks and glue it together. And that will create your little sliding matchbox. I'm going to try to use my bone folder and my scoreboard, or excuse me, my scoring tool and my scoreboard to see if I can't get some sharper creases. So I'm going to score on the 5-inch side at 1 3/4. Then you're going to score at 3 1/4 and at 4. That's right. So the width of your box is 1.5 inches and the height of your box, let me tell you the overall dimensions. So you've got 1 1/4, you've got 3/4 of an inch, and then it's 6 inches long. Okay. This is patterned paper from Hobby Lobby. It's not super thick, but it's not like copyweight paper. This is from like a rainbow pad, but it's got like super bright colors on it. Okay, so this is what you're left with, okay? And the reason why I said make it a little bit larger than 6 is because to give yourself some grace with your cutting, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna flip this over and I'm gonna put this in the middle here, and then I'm just gonna wrap this around here and just double check that we don't have like, just kind of double check my fit here. So that looks pretty good to me, okay? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to apply some glue here and some glue here, and that will ensure that we're not putting glue on our box, but we're also gonna get some good adhesion on both of these parts. So when you fold this around, you don't want to do it super tight because you still want them to be able to like slide this in and out. But I am doing this on the back of the box, so it's giving me just a little bit of leverage. You could put your pens or pencils or whatever you were using in there already. I just wanted to give myself just a little bit of leverage. And that's about perfect as far as getting this box together. So now all they do is slide, and then they can slide that back in and out. You can embellish this however you like. I will probably put a banner around it, or not a banner, excuse me, some like ribbon or baker's twine, and put a little tag on there that says for you or thank you, whatever it may be. I have found that I've really been enjoying my Tailored Expressions tiny tag sayings, I think is what it's called. I have found that I've been using that quite a bit. So here are some pins that I got from, we had a Dollar General that went out of business or was closed, and so I went there and stocked up on some things. So here's 3 pins here. Those fit beautifully, nice, and it's a pretty decent fit as far as like lengthwise, and there's a little bit of wiggle room as far as like widthwise. Like I said, I wanted to make sure that if these popped up with the pin loops, you know, facing up, that we weren't going to run into issues with our belly band on there. So there's some pins that fit in there. And then I also wanted to make it to where if I decided to put, you know, pencils in here, mechanical pencils, those would fit also. So again, the overall measurements is 6 by 1.5 by 3/4 of an inch. So 6 by 1.5 by 3/4 of an inch. And both of these will fit in there just lovely, and then you slide that back on. Just like teachers always need pens, they always need pencils. Like, it's just something they'll always use. So that is the project for today. I appreciate you spending time with me, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.